I'm First Alert Meteorologist Chrissy Kohler. We've got just a couple more weeks of hurricane season left. Officially, it ends on November 30th. So just a couple more weeks to go. But keep in mind, Mother Nature doesn't necessarily always play by our man made calendars. So it's possible we could see this go into December this year. And in fact, even as we slide into the second week of November, we've got one thing we're keeping an eye on here, which is for an area of low pressure to develop in the Caribbean Sea in the coming days. And then beyond that, it's in a fairly favorable environment to see some gradual development of this. So we could actually get a depression out of this by the time we get into the weekend. It's got warm water temperatures to work with. There's just enough moisture in the vicinity, and the wind shear is just right, not too strong, not too low. So there's right now a 40% chance that we could see something by the time we get into the weekend, which would just add to a very active hurricane season. So far this season, we've had 17 named storms. Of those, 11 have been hurricanes. And of those 11 hurricanes, 5 of those have been major Category 3 or higher hurricanes, including Beryl and Milton, which were both Category 5 hurricanes, and Raphael, which was actually a Category 3 hurricane. It is the second latest on record that we've seen a major Category hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico. The only other later one was Hurricane Kate back in 1985, and that developed on November 11th and dissipated on November 23rd. Raphael is also the furthest west we've seen a tropical system this late into the season. So certainly some records still being broken as we head through this already very active hurricane season. So how does this stack up against the forecast from the beginning of the season? This is from NOAA. This was issued in May, updated again in August, but there was really no change to the forecast here. So we've hit all the markers here. 17 named storms. We've had 11 hurricanes, 5 major hurricanes. So we're right where we should be. And you'll notice that each one of those numbers is also above average. Now, to get into the top 10, we would need to have 2 more named storms, which we're at 17 right now. It wouldn't take much, especially if the one we're watching in the tropics does develop later on this week and gets into a tropical storm or a hurricane, becomes a tropical storm or a hurricane. Now we're talking 18 named storms. We do have to get a tropical storm or a hurricane. It wouldn't count for named storms if it's just a depression, but it's certainly a possibility there that we could end up in a top 10 most active season still, especially when you look at these water temperatures. Look at how warm these water temperatures are, especially in the Caribbean Sea. When you're talking mid 80s there, even the southern Gulf of Mexico, we're looking at mid 80s. That means we're looking at some very strong hurricane fuel there. So anything we see develop in this area of the world, if the conditions are right, it wouldn't be out of the question to get a couple of more named storms before the end of the season. And keep in mind, December, we could still see some development, and that would count towards this season, even though technically we're outside of hurricane season.